Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.
Because sometimes strategy I will be adopting. Also, can I walk through it to the end?
Okay, but Prof, Pacho, my misa we saying so. Ebia, me wo investment be that baby as anshi akano. I buy CB obetuaka in 10 years time na there. But a long-term investment na me here. Sikano, I am not expecting it within ebia that 10 years edamani. Ebia me a young guy I feel na share juma say I have about 20 years to go on pension and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Me here sikano say see I'm fine yehwe. Can I still trust my fund manager say who de sikano en na ho? After be a 15-20 years now, many that's what I'm saying. Will I get value for that investment?
The problem is senior installment arrangement, and current inflation the value of it 50 years to come, it will be so small. Things change. Especially when the coupon rate on it is that low. Okay.
Yes, okay.
We are in this situation because inflation is very high. In the literature, it is not a problem for government handling its domestic debt. And that is why we say it's the safest. Because in a worst case scenario, government will print more CDs to pay down on its debt. When the government prints more CDs to pay down on its debt, it means that the state is actually shifting the burden of the debt from the state to the citizens, because that extra injection of liquidity, CD printing, will cause inflationary pressures to head up, and that jump in inflation represents effectively a form of taxation of your income. Another way government pays down on its debt. That option looks mute, unpopular now, also because the IMF is on board, right? Inflation is very high. So if we ended 2022 with inflation of 54.1%, that's huge. Government-owned inflation target for 2023 is 18.9%. And you want to give zero coupon 2023. You look at it. And then 5% or so following year and all of that. It's American. If you look at it logically, the problem is more interest. Let's sit down. Even if it's a painful process, look, if a doctor wants to do certain operation, that, for instance, painful or whatever, in fact, it helps if the doctor explains the process to the patient. It's patient management. We manage patients. We've moved away from this kind of style, okay? We embrace alternatives. Now, some countries have done this. So they built consensus, and they were able to come out of it better. And the approach government has adopted is what has elicited this kind of response all over the place. It's the approach. It is not the principle. The principle that Ghana needs to restructure its debt, we are all on board. I am on board. And I believe that you are also on board, is that also, and all of that, because we need to come out of this. But the approach they have adopted and the current terms, I think we need to take another look. And I'm hoping that government will be open, and then we will engage within the shortest possible time. My worry also is that if we don't manage this process carefully, and it delays for so long, it has implications for the IMF program. Remember the staff level agreement that was reached middle of December. The program is, we don't know what is in it now until it goes to the IMF executive board and it's approved, and then it's available. Remember that whatever that will be contained in the IMF staff level agreement, before it becomes a program for us to implement, they are forecasts, they are projections. Every projection is as good as the assumptions underlying the projection. So if it delays so much, it is possible that the program itself may not hold the way it was designed, because some of the assumptions may have to be revisited. And the time is not on our side. So government, with all humility, let's take another look at this. Let's build consensus around it, because the terms they've announced, some of them, for some of the part of the, maybe this government may not be there. Maybe it will be another government will come and shoulder this responsibility and go through it. Let's all come together and build ownership, collective ownership in this debt exchange, so that we all understand what the sacrifices are and how we will monitor the savings, the fiscal savings, and how it will be spent. Government then must come to that table being willing to also do certain expenditure cuts. Boss, there is considerable room for expenditure-based fiscal adjustment that can help to lessen the burden of the debt exchange on creditors. There is. Otherwise, we won't be talking like this. When a company is going through trouble, they restructure internally first before you look at external. We can do a little bit because times are hard. So we look at the governance that fits the challenging times. When things improve, I don't mind. And we all think that we can have 1,000 ministers, 1,000 ministries, because we can afford, because that is what we want to do. That is fine. But right now, we can't afford. We must look at what we can afford, so we come out of this.
Prof,
I think you know that. There's a saying in the scriptures that a new wine should not be put in an old wine skin.
Else, the opening will be bigger.
This is where we are now. The structure of our governance that created the problem. We cannot look for a new solution and put it in that old structure and expect it to bring something different. We will be unique. We can't go against the scriptures.
Prof, as if you are scaring us, but you have told us the truth this morning. Yadawase, Yaminshra.
Amen.
Bye. Hey, Professor Bokpin. I don't know what you're saying.
Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.